I find stuff like this a lot more difficult to cover, in large part because things get very procedural very quickly, you know? And there are people who cover the nitty gritty a little bit better than me. And by a little bit better, I mean a lot better because they actually, you know, because from my perspective, like Eric Adams is like obviously incompetent and evil and has been for a long time. And you can determine this simply by observing him. Like, it's not difficult to understand this. So to me, him being found corrupt in 5, you know, felony counts, right, in an indictment, like this to me is just like a icing on the cake. Oh, now finally, me when there is now like a legal prosecutorial reason to dislike the person I already disliked. Yes. Here's the deposition if you want it. Well, let's check how boring is it. Ooh, pretty boring as it turns out. No, I think we'll stick to the CNN article rather than read all that and then me going after every sentence. Well, I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know what it means. Yeah, my understanding is basically he's corrupt in a very Turkish fashion. Alleges he secretly solicited and accepted freebies and illegal campaign donations from wealthy foreigners, including Turkish officials, as far back as 2014. In exchange, he pressured the fire department of New York to approve the opening of a new Turkish consular building in the city without a fire inspection, the indictment states. In addition, his campaign used those illegal campaign donations to, quote, steal public funds through New York City's matching funds, according to the indictment. Nice, 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 nice. He's denied wrongdoing. Actually, that's what I want to see. I want to see him denying the wrongdoing. Because right after the indictment dropped, Eric Adams' response was to release a pre-recorded video in which he was saying essentially like, whatever they're saying about me, it's all fake. They're only going after me because they want to go after you and I'm in the way. You know, like one of those kind of deals. Coward fake news. Yeah, I'm trying to find the video. Okay, here's him speaking publicly. Where's the video of him? Here we go. Video statement.
My fellow New Yorkers, it
New
is now my
Yorkers.
belief that the federal government intends to charge me with crimes. If so,
charge me with crimes.
These charges will be entirely false, based on lies. But they would not be surprising. I always knew that if I stood my ground for all of you, that I would be a target. And a target I became.
Literally, I wasn't joking when I said what I said. Like that, this is actually, he's the mayor of New York City, and this is the card he's pulling. Gwen, thank you for the $2,000. Unlike Eric Adams, it's not actually illegal for me to, you know, here I am soliciting donations. Thank you for the $2,000. Gwen, might I, of Spider-Man fame, perhaps? No one knows. Just warped in from the verse where you were wealthy as shit. Thank you. Jesus. Gwen, what did I ever do to you? I'm very rude, the Benjamin Gilbert lift, but let's not let this good fortune and kindness get in the way of this very important making fun of Mayor Eric Adams.
For months, leaks and rumors have been aimed at me in an attempt to undermine my credibility and paint me as guilty. Just this past week, they searched the home of our new police commissioner, looking for documents from 20 years ago.
Didn't he resign?
Just 1 week after he joined my administration. Enough. I will fight these injustices with every ounce of my strength and my spirit. If I'm charged, I know I am innocent.
This is like famously something innocent people do, which is the nanosecond a sealed indictment drops, you post a video, it like of essentially like through your official status as mayor, and you're like, well, it's actually the deep state going after me, you know?
Will request an immediate trials so the New Yorkers can hear the truth. New Yorkers know my story. They know where I come from. I have been fighting injustice my entire life. That fight has continued as your mayor. Despite our pleas,
New Yorkers hate this guy. Everyone hates this guy. He's actually so right-wing that right-wingers don't actually target him. Have you noticed Republicans don't actually really go after Eric Adams? He is so unrepresentative of New York City voters that, like, which, by the way, very left-leaning on average. I know some boroughs are more right-leaning or whatever. Overall, New York City is, of course, a very blue city. How did he get elected? A really, really stupid mayoral run where a lot of votes got split and a lot of people didn't turn up to vote. Folks, believe it or not, it's not actually good for your mental health to consume political news nonstop 24/7, especially in fraught times like these, and then not actually do anything about it. You know, you're just sitting there, you're thinking, what are you doing? I've got good news for you. Progressive Victory right now is gunning up for a big event October 5th and 6th in Wisconsin, canvassing for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, our preferred candidate for the presidency and vice presidency, if you didn't know. And they're doing phone banking and canvassing all over the country, okay? Basically, what I'm saying is you should check out Progressive Victory's activities, you know? Pinned comment down below. I know you're thinking I'm busy, I don't want to do it, it's going to be difficult. I get so many people saying it's better than they think it's going to be. It's good. At least take a look. There's a lot going on. Maybe you think, oh, I'll contribute an hour a week, and then it turns out, you know, maybe you contribute 2 hours. You're having so much fun. Just give it a look. Like, genuinely, that's it. Wasn't this guy controversial even among Democrats since his election? He is fundamentally just an incompetent and evil person. New York City's government, its city government, has been rife with, you know, bureaucratic incompetency for its entire existence, but I feel like that contradiction has been heightening. An ungodly amount of money wasted on like broken windows policing style tactics, hundreds of millions, of course, very recently invested in the police to stop a very paltry amount of fare loss from people skipping it. There was that shooting recently where he was, you know, speaking of the brave cop who got shot in an altercation in the subway, and of course he was shot by another cop. That's his entire, like, candidacy. He's so right-wing that Republicans don't really go after him. Nobody likes him. Nobody. There were centrist Democrats who tried to make him out to be like the, oh, you know, the left cedes ground to this voice of reason. But he's a fucking loony. Also Nate Silver. Yes, and Nate Silver, who is also a crank. Is this seriously Donald Trump defending Eric Adams? Eric Adams, an ostensibly Democrat mayor of New York City, a city that he has targeted many times for criticism, he's saying...
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know the mayor well, but he's been fairly generous to me in his state.
Think of how bad Eric Adams has to be as the mayor of New York City for Donald Trump's default response to be like conciliatory and gracious.
Statements for a while. I thought you had the worst mayor ever that we had prior to him. I will say this. I watched about a year ago when he talked about how the illegal migrants are hurting our city and the federal government should pay us and we shouldn't have to take them. And I said, you know what? He'll be indicted within a year. And I was exactly right. Because that's
how bad Eric Adams is. When he's indicted on corruption, rather than Donald Trump saying, Democrats, the corrupt Democrats, instead he's like, oh yeah, I bet Eric Adams got indicted for, you know, wanting to kill immigrants like I do. Like, I bet the deep state went after him for the same reason it went after me. Here's Adams getting shouted at after trying to make this about anti-black racism. Oh God, Adams would 100% say this is happening because, like, I'm black or whatever.
This is not a black thing. This is a youth thing. This is a youth thing, Eric Adams. This is not a black thing. Your policies are anti-black. You are a disgrace to all black people in this city. The things that you have done are unconscionable. You hurt our schools. Our streets are dirty. Our children are harassed by the police. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous.
Not sure it's that serious. No. Eric Adams is a monster. He is a horrible leader. Everything that's being said here is completely correct. Yeah. It would have been better for the city if it had just been a Republican mayor, because at least then you wouldn't have had the confusion of him being a Democrat.
You can shush me all you want, but the people are with us. And this is not a black thing. This is a justice thing.
end wokeness is defending him. Oh my God, yeah. Neo-Nazi, we assume Jack Posobiec also. That's who Eric Adams is. The deep state is going after Eric Adams because he's anti-immigrant, anti-migrant, or whatever. Why is he a Democrat if he's so right-leaning? To win in New York. Yeah, I tell you, Eric Adams is going to be ousted as a count of this indictment, and I guarantee you he's going to be doing Fox News segments for years from now, talking about how, like, you know, New York City, the Republicans will acknowledge that violent crime plummeted in New York City, but only after the fact, and only so they can put it on Eric Adams being anti-migrant and pro-police.
When the federal government did nothing as its broken immigration policies overloaded
Oh
our
God,
shelter
yeah, this
system.
is literally, even in his video where he says, I did nothing wrong, the deep state attacks me, he says, well, the federal government's mad at me because I, you know, don't want to personally suck on the toes of every migrant who comes into New York City.
With no relief. I put the people of New York before party and politics. Now, if I am charged, many may say I should resign because I cannot manage the city while fighting the case. I can also understand how everyday New Yorkers will be concerned that I cannot do my job while I face accusation. But I have been facing these lies for months since I began to speak out for all of you and their investigation started. Yet the city has continued to improve. Make no mistake, you elected me to lead this city, and lead it I will. I humbly ask.
Yeah, he's gonna have to be forced out.
Oh,
Oh, I've seen this clip.
That's here that have joined the supporters of all ethnic groups that I hear, particularly the men and women of the clergy.
Governor Hochul can remove him from office. Yeah, problem with that, it's Governor Hochul. Thank you, Jeffrey. I really appreciate the $100. That'll absolutely help PV. Everyone helps PV by viewing, donating, and of course, if you don't have the money and you have the time, you can hit !PV and join in with phone banking, canvassing the event in Wisconsin on October 5th and 6th. Thank you very, very much. Yeah, Kathy Hochul is also a monster. I'm not gonna lie, New York Democrats are the weakest link. It's not just because so many of them are like finance, Wall Street New York Democrats, like Hillary Clinton types, where they think that they're, you know, enlightened technocrats who are better than the Central American, I mean, like in the Center American, like Midwestern, the flyover states, peasantry. It's also just that like actual regular New Yorkers who are left-leaning are too fucking lazy to go out and vote. They're too busy, like, I don't know, getting Mark Towers and spending $4,000 a month on rent and going to bodegas and like taking pictures of cats at the bodegas. They're too busy walking over here. Your turnout for local elections is fucking reprehensibly low. You're pathetic. You think that just because you live in New York City, you don't have to turn out for your local elections? Eat shit. And let it be known, it's back and forth, man. Because I make fun of the rural people and the, you know, the city folk, they come after me. They're like, oh, how dare you patronize these like 80 IQ inbred Appalachians who are also neo-Nazis who want you killed. How dare you patronize them? That's very uncivil of you. Well, now I'm coming after you. Fuck you.
That's here that have joined me here today. And
yeah, at least rural people
we are not
vote.
Surprised. We expected this. This is not surprising to us at all. The actions that have unfolded over the last 10 months. Yeah. The leaks.
Oh.
The commentary. The demonizing. This did not surprise us that we reached this day. And I ask New Yorkers to wait to hear our defense before making any judgments.
No.
In about 30 minutes, you're going to hear his story.
Yeah, honestly, no. Just like, f you. We'll just read about what the indictments are about. Oh yeah, we can never forget. Keep in mind, Eric Adams is a cop because, of course, he is. That PSA from 2011 on how to check your kid's room for weed.
You can look at
it. You can't miss that. Every Eric Adams segment needs this included because we must never forget. This is like insanely funny, but I also think you should investigate the kind of mindset a person would need to have in order to make this, right? Like, this is a deeply authoritarian right-wing individual. This is cop brain, but I repeat myself. It seems like a joke, but it's representative of real political views. The patriarchal family is a microcosm of the state moment. So true. Absolutely. He's legitimately insane. He personally is insane. Yeah. It doesn't take away from any of the, like, horrible stuff he represents, but he personally is insane. Genuinely, like, 5 people voted last election in this damn city. 21% voter turnout, apparently, according to chat, which I believe always. Anyway, what are the actual charges? Like, specifically. For nearly a decade, Adams sought out and accepted benefits such as free luxury travel and campaign donations from foreign businessmen, the indictment alleges. Between 2016 and October 2023, he allegedly committed 23 different overt acts, which include accepting free flights and hotel rooms and coordinating straw donations. Prosecutors say the foreign nationals were able to sidestep federal law and conceal their campaign donations through these straw donors, U.S.-based donors who falsely claim they were contributing their own money. The indictment details free tickets and upgrades to business class and international flights for the mayor and his associates. He allegedly accepted free stays at opulent hotels, meals at high-end restaurants, and other luxurious entertainment while in Turkey. Didn't disclose business trips, free payment, allegedly accepted over $123,000 worth of luxury travel benefit. Isn't it crazy how you can get indicted for all of this because it's against the law, but it's okay for Clarence Thomas to do this? Literally, like, all of this is the same as what Clarence Thomas has done. It's just that he's a Supreme Court justice. He's just one of the high priests, so it's okay for him to do it. Allegedly pressured the fire department to open a Turkish consular building without fire inspection in time for a high-profile visit from Erdogan? Great. In September 2021, a Turkish official told the mayor, quote, "It was his turn to repay," the indictment says. Is it actually legal on paper for Thomas to accept those bribes, or is it just practice over theory? No, he's allowed to. You're supposed to disclose the donations he received as a Supreme Court justice, but, like, it's not against the law. He can't have charges brought against him. You can be impeached for it, but, like, he's legally allowed to. Yeah. What the f? That's so stupid. Yeah, it sure is. There's literally no reason for it outside of just allowing corruption. Congress and Supreme Courts have specific cutouts in the law. Yeah. They can do stuff you can't get away with. Sorry, Eric Adams, you should have been a congressman. If you were a congressman, all this stuff would have been legal. Maybe there would have been, like, ethics complaints, but it would have been legal. Alleged efforts to conceal scheme. You are a shiny individual. One instant interview with investigators, an Adams staffer left to go to the bathroom and deleted encrypted messaging apps she had used to communicate with Adams and others, the indictment states. Me, when I have, like, 8 IQ, leaves interview with the FBI, goes into the bathroom, deletes the crime.exe on my phone. There's no way they're going to find this out. When investigators executed a search warrant for Adams' electronic devices on November 6, he didn't have his personal phone with him, the indictment states. He provided it to investigators the next day pursuant to a subpoena, but it was locked and required a password, the indictment states. Adams said he had changed the password a day earlier to prevent members of his staff from inadvertently or intentionally deleting the contents of his phone, the indictment states. He then claimed he had forgotten the new password, prosecutors allege. That's fantastic. Oops. I changed the password on my crime phone to keep people from deleting stuff you might be interested in, investigator, but I have forgotten the password. Yeah, Eric Adams is thinking back in his training. He's hiding the incriminating information in a jewelry box underneath a pillow. Kai, thank you for the $100. I really appreciate that. This is the Get Eric Adams Arrested and Imprisoned Fund. Thank you. Most serious charge is wire fraud. Yeah, well, in terms of, like, the specifics from a legal perspective of what's going to happen to him, obviously I don't know. And, you know, the wealthy and powerful tend to skirt punishment. That's a known factor. But look, nobody in New York likes him. I genuinely, like, I don't think... The only people in New York who like Eric Adams is the NYPD because he gives them money and power. That's it. You know, I don't know of any other, because even the, like, more moderate centrist Democrats who initially pushed for him have since found him very embarrassing. That's my impression, you know? My impression is that, like, at this point now, most people kind of go like, you know, he's like a liability. I hate that moderate libs keep voting for corrupt dipshits, then going to vote in new ones instead of progressives. Yep, anything but social. It's socialism or barbarism, man. You see the same thing with like Trudeau and Macron, right? Especially Macron, where like you cede ground more and more to the right to a worse world like every time. But, you know, better that than taking a chance on the good people who want good things. It's insane.